You're on, just so everyone knows your microphone's on.
Yep.
All right. Oh, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Esther? Esther, could you take a seat, please? Okay, you will, in a minute. Okay, I want to welcome everyone to the Town Board meeting of February 11th, 2020. Town Clerk, can you please take the roll call?
Councilman Dennis Troy.
Present.
Councilman Tom Divany.
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Vitari. Here. Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Here. Esther, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, so we have a couple of announcements tonight we're going to start with. Once I'm just going to start with my appointment. I'm making an appointment of Carmel Riley, who's here. Carmel, you want to stand up? She's going to be the new Director of Economic Development. Fuzzball keeps coming off. So I just want to say Carmel has lived in Orangetown her whole life. I think she's going to bring an enthusiasm to the job. I know she'll bring it to the office. So I am very much looking forward to working with her, and I welcome you on. And I'm now going to look for my top of my microphone. Okay, next I just want to announce we're going to have another public information session. So I don't know how many of you have been paying attention, but we're looking into what's called the Community Choice Aggregation. It's a way for the town to be the one who decides your default on your utilities instead of Orange and Rockland. It's a little simple, but in ways it's complicated. When you sit there and you listen to it, it seems very simple, but when you start to ask questions, it gets complicated. So I invite you to come. They're actually going to, the presenter's going to be here before the next town board meeting, so you can come an hour early and you can stay through the meeting. So again, that's on the 25th at 6 o'clock right here. Then I just want to remind everybody that starting March 1st, we have the new New York State put a ban for some single-use plastic bags. So get your reusable bags out there, and let's all help the environment. And now I'm going to move on to some presentations. We have a proclamation for Black History Month, which is February 2020. We're honoring Pastor Brandon McLaughlin from the St. Charles AME Zion Church. We do have a little presentation to make for him, but I did do a little bit of homework, and so I just want to read a couple things. So since the 1970s, Black History Month has been an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans. Of significance, this year's theme for Black History Month is African Americans and the vote. And it is a landmark year for voting rights, as 2020 marks the 150th anniversary of the 15th Amendment, 1870, which gave the right of black men to vote following the Civil War. So I think it's a special year. Tonight, we're in recognition of Black History Month, that we're honoring Brandon McLaughlin. As I said, he's the pastor of the historic St. Charles AME Zion Church. I did do a little research on him, so I'll just say that he grew up the son of a military mom and often moved around. When his mom was deployed to Kuwait, he was sent to live with his aunt and grandmother. Brandon knew as early as the 7th grade that he wanted to preach and started his preaching ministry as a senior in high school. Brandon is a graduate of Fayetteville State University with a degree in general music. He's also a graduate of Campbell University Divinity School with a Master's of Divinity degree. After a decade serving as a minister in his hometown in North Carolina, Brandon found himself here in Orangetown. I met Pastor McLaughlin in January when the choir from his church performed at the reorganization meeting. I was immediately impressed with his energetic, youthful personality, and so I was not surprised to find out that he's contributing his own ideas, notably using Facebook, to live stream his sermons and Bible studies to help involve younger people, to help them get involved. So just today, I friended Pastor McLaughlin on Facebook and can now look forward to participating in his 1-minute prayers. So please join me in honoring Pastor Brandon McLaughlin with presentation of this proclamation. Will the pastor come on up?
Is this, I don't know. All right.
It takes a second to go on. Hold on a second.
I can be loud enough. It's fine. All right. Certainly want to say that I'm thankful for this honor, and thank you, Supervisor, for this honor, and thank you first to God for sending me here to to Orangetown. I am a native of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we never thought we would be here, but we are excited to be in Spark Hill and serving. I would like for my wife to just wave her hand. They say it is behind every good preacher there is an amazing woman, and she's that amazing woman in my life, so I want to certainly say thank you to her. St. Charles, can you all stand up real quick? God bless you all. I love you. You certainly make me excited every time, and thank you for your presence. I'll say this lastly, St. Charles has a long history and legacy of making an impact in Orangetown and in Rockland County. It's evident by the number of our members who are on the Rockland County Civil Rights Hall of Fame, Lonnie Swan, Leonard Cook, Lawrence and Albert Holland, and my predecessor, the Reverend Lewis Sanders. They have done some amazing work, and we stand on their shoulders. And so I'm excited about the work we've done, and thank you for joining on the 1 minute prayer. That's going to be exciting. We do it every morning.
That's about all the time I have. So.
And so thank you all so much, and I'm certainly excited to have an awesome time with you here in Orangetown. God bless you.
Okay, we're going to have a presentation from Applied Golf. Oh. Okay. So as much as I love having you all here, if you don't want to sit around and listen to about Applied Golf, you're free to leave. I will not yell. As long as the pastor says it's okay, I'm okay with it.
Thank you. That's a tough act to follow here, for sure. Who made the schedule? This is the boring part now. Well, thank you for inviting us. My name's Dave Wasena. I'm the president of Applied Golf. We're proud operators of the two town golf courses, Broad Acres and Blue Hill. We are gearing up for an exciting season. The weather has cooperated so far. I'm sure everybody's yielding the benefits from a nice mild winter. So is the golf course. We have $30,000 up over last year. So that's a nice little start. But we're ready for another season. The whole staff is returning. We have a lot of continuity in the staff with expecting great golf course conditions this year. We got off to a good start with the weather too, and don't have any construction projects planned in the spring, so it should be a nice, easy, smooth transition into spring. What we were asked to do this evening was to present some strategies on 2020 rates. I just passed out just a quick handout on our on some proposed rates and some competitive rates in the local marketplace. Just for your perusal, I won't go through them all in detail, but you can certainly ask any question. Essentially, what we did is we did as we do every year, is a little analysis on some Rockland County competitive rates on some local golf courses, and try to price ourselves strategically, not the highest in the market, not the lowest in the market. Broad Acres probably the exception because it's the only 9-hole course, so we always use that as the value proposition in the competitive rates. But as for Blue Hill, try to position it kind of right in the middle sweet spot of the local rates to make sure we're not outpricing ourselves and people are going other places. So if you could see on the handout I gave you, the greens are the lowest rates and the reds are the highest rates. So I think I'm looking at black and white here, so I could be reversed. Okay, thank you. Jeff's got a color copy. I had to give mine out. So the reds are the lowest rates and the greens are the highest rates. So you could see kind of just in a visual what that looks like. The rates this year on an average go up in some cases 0 in some categories and up to about $3 or $4 in other categories. We could provide the detail of that if you're interested after the meeting. But no crazy increases, again, just to get us in line with other competitors in the marketplace. So we figure there's probably about an average of about $1.75 in increase over the entire thing. Obviously, costs are going up. People are raising their rates all over the place. Cost of labor is up. Cost of materials up. So we're trying to just keep up with the Joneses in the local marketplace. But we feel, again, this is not major impact to anyone and no crazy increases in a particular category. We're trying to stay fairly even-keeled across the board. So we think we're right there. All the managers on both facilities had a big say in this process. So we relied on their local perspective and our regional perspective. So it was a team effort to get to this point on where we're at in these rates. The big news is, because the rates will get us somewhere, but the big news is we're installing new software at both golf courses this year. We've been testing a new software in some other locations because these facilities are so busy. We don't consider this a test site. We'd rather have it kind of bulletproof coming in. So this new software that we're installing in both facilities will now have a live interconnect with the tee sheets and the starters at each golf course, in particular Blue Hill, where there's 3 starter locations. In the past, we're just using paper and pencil, and it's hard to communicate to the starter, changes day of, people adding, people taking off. So now everything becomes live and interactive. What that means is that now we could take tee times literally right up until the tee time is actually ready for tee off, where in the past we've had just a logistical issue doing that because of what I just said. So we feel that plus the day before, we required people to call the pro shop. Now we can go online, or anyone can go online and book their tee time all the way through. So we find that if you look at some of the analytics from the other golf courses, that people are kind of doing more reservations last minute now. They're not doing the traditional 2-3 days out, 7 days out. A lot of people are doing it 1 day out. So this will we really feel we're going to see a big uptick in filling in the slow spots that we have on both golf courses, in particular Blue Hill. With that, now that we have that connected, what we'll do, and on the back of the page it kind of explains that, is the auto pricing. What we have is a system in place now where we can auto price rates. So in other words, if we find that certain slots are not being taken or used, that auto pricing feature will now essentially lower the rate to try to attract maybe a value-based golfer, but it's at a very small window of time. So we could actually set the rates to go down if necessary, or if the times are very popular, go up in rate. Now, obviously, the residents would not be in play on the rates going up. They're always guaranteed the rates that are published. But for the non-residents who want to play Blue Hill, and there are a lot of them, now we could actually push rates up. So if we only have 4 tee times left for the entire day, that auto pricing will now bring that rate higher than what's published on paper here. And that will yield more rate, obviously, during that time. So we've done this at other golf courses, and it's worked fabulous. Again, residents are exempt from that because they'll always get the rates that are published here, but we're talking about non-resident rates. And then if we're lowering rates, say if you wanted to take your son to the golf course in the afternoon and it was last minute and we had open time, that rate might even be lower than a resident rate. which then you could obviously take advantage of the lowest rate possible. So we see that in golf courses that we've been using this, we're generating up to 3 or 4% more volume just by this feature added to it. Now with the new software connecting it, now we're in that game of the variable pricing. So we really feel like this year is going to be a nice year, especially with all these changes. We feel that we're going to see a difference in average rate, and we're going to see a difference in volume, all things being equal with weather. So that's kind of an update from our end, and be happy to answer any questions you may have. Has to be one.
I actually have one, because
The bunk, well, the Pines is done, obviously, that was done, and I know from Eric's perspective, we're looking at probably fall this year, correct, Eric? So that'll be, we'd like to do that work in the fall if we can, because in the spring, it really affects what we call cabin fever. Everybody wants to come out because they've been not playing all winter, and when they come out and the golf course is in somewhat a shambles of construction, and God forbid the weather's bad, and that's kind of what happened with the bunker project last year. We just feel like the fall is a better time. You know, everybody's winding down, they're not winding up, and we got a lot of wiggle room with scheduling, God forbid the weather to turn bad.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
And you'll know quickly that I do not golf at all.
You should.
And even when I'm there and I'm hitting the ball, I do not golf at all. I do need lessons. Is Broadacres on this list, is that the only 9-hole?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other 9-hole courses in Rockland, like Rockland Lake or something?
The ones that we do are these. I mean, we could, yeah, I mean, comparable, because we figure Broadacres is almost like an 18-hole golf course, but it's just 9 holes. You know, most people play it twice. It's just the fact that some people would want to pay a little less rate because they're playing the same 9 holes twice, if you know what I mean.
Makes sense to you? Okay. Not to me, but whatever.
Yeah, the only 9
wanna do
holes is the
9.
one in, like Old Tapan is a 9-hole course.
Okay. I mean, again, I don't golf. It just seems like the 9-hole is so much close, the price is so close to the, isn't Blue Hill 27 holes or something?
But don't forget, you're playing, these are 18-hole rates.
No, I know you only play.
Yeah, so
I'm just-
this is, yeah,
That's what she's.
it's
Anyway.
discounting off this rate.
Okay,
You're correct.
that's what I
Yeah,
think I
I'm
was
sorry.
trying to get at. Oh,
So
okay.
what you're seeing
I
here is
apologize.
playing 9 holes twice.
Now
for
I
18
get it.
holes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're right, there's 9-hole
Okay,
rates that
that's
aren't
why
on
I-
the sheet
okay.
that we obviously
Okay.
offer.
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, thank you very much, and thanks for your continued support. We appreciate it. Sorry I'm not as exciting as the attendee before.
Not too many people are, no, not too many people are, I'll tell you that. Okay, so now we're just going to workshop the agenda items. We're going to go just I guess we'll go on to 5 and 6 is basically the public hearing. So we'll go, and 7, right?
Should we do the public hearing?
Oh, do you, you got a couple of minutes. I mean, they're really, most of the agenda items are pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, we can do it now, 7:57.
You want to do the public hearing?
Yeah, we'll get them out.
Okay, then we have to actually open the meeting. Do I have a motion open?
Move to
Jill thinks
open
you- Okay,
public hearing.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I don't believe we have anybody signed up to speak. So does anybody want to? Oh, the presentation? Okay, good. Then maybe they want to speak.
Good evening, Geraldine Tortorella of Hockerman, Tortorella and Wexstein, and Al Rossi from RD Management. We don't really have anything new to say based on our last presentation 2 weeks ago, other than to just remind you we're here because by joining the 2 hotels into one building, the concept plan changes, and that necessitates an amendment of the special permit. And that's what we're here for this evening. Once we go through this approval process, we will move on to the planning board, ACABOR, and any other local boards in the town from which we require approvals.
Any questions, anybody?
Anyone here for the public to speak?
Anybody want to speak from the public hearing? No? Okay.
This is not the public, but just real quick, we did double check. local law was filed with the Secretary of State yesterday, so that's why we were able to keep it on for today, so.
Okay.
And again, the only change, the local law permitted the change in the total gross floor area limitations from 30% to 35%, and this special permit is allowing that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, so, a motion to close?
Second.
You got it ready? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, now we're going to number 7 to actually vote on it. There's a lot of whereas clauses. If you go to page 5, about halfway down now, therefore it be resolved, that's basically the best place to go. And this is where, we're basically, the last line is saying where we are permitting a total gross floor area limitation from 30 to 35%. And then there's, okay. Okay, so, do I have a motion? Jerry? Jerry, and then,
Jerry made the motion.
yeah, then the Dennis second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, now we can go to the workshop.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, now we're going to go back and workshop. Can we do that?
Well, I think we'll go forward.
Where's that?
Yeah, we're going to 8.
1-8. 'cause
Yeah,
everything else
we're
is
there
on.
anyway. Okay, so Jeff, you want to come up and talk about this, number 8?
Okay, in conjunction with issuing our bonds, we obviously need bond counsel and we need a financial advisor. We've used Rick McCarthy. He used to be with Environmental Capital. Now he's with Capital Market Advisors, who bought out his firm. They're charging us the same rate as they charged us before. And what the financial advisor does, assists with the calls to Moody, assists with continuing disclosure with the SEC, assists with the investment banks that we'll be using to issue our bonds. And so this is Capital Market Advisors is actually the biggest financial advisors in the municipal world. And so this is an engagement letter, same terms, like I said, as we've used from them in the past.
Okay,
Any questions?
any questions? No?
Nope.
Okay, the next item is accepting the bond, the grant for $250,000. This has to do with the all-inclusive park up at Veterans Park. So we have to pass a resolution basically saying that we're accepting it. And I guess that, Rob, it was that we will have the rest of the funds?
Right.
Was something to that effect?
Actually, I'll defer to Eric and/or Allison, but it's the 250, we were notified that it was awarded, but we still have to submit further paperwork. And then there's another 250,000 that we can apply for also,
Right.
that's
So
in
this
the
is from
pipeline.
Carlucci, and then Jaffe also has another
Correct,
250
right, but
out there.
we mentioned the second 250 in here as well. And it's authorizing the supervisor or your designee to submit the application for that second for both, frankly.
Good.
And this is not accepting it, there's still further
Right.
machinations we have to go through, I guess, with DASNY to get it.
Okay.
So again, the only concern, which you were gonna check on, right, was to see if there's any strings attached?
Well, I'm going to ask Eric if you want to step up for a moment. I know last year an issue came up with respect to, especially with veterans, residency requirements.
I can tell you, I know from reviewing the application documents that were sent to both Carlucci and Jaffe's office, that information about our residency law was included. So that was disclosed to them, that we have that law in place. The fee structure for how we enforce it, that's all done openly. So they are aware that that exists, and they've reviewed our application with that included, and, this is where we're at. So,
Okay.
I
So
I mean,
guess just,
yeah.
let's review the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before we
I
take
mean,
it.
just because they reviewed it doesn't mean that they can't come back to us after we get the money and say, now you got to change your residency law. That's the problem.
I think,
I
I
mean-
would think us being open about it would,
yeah, but in New York.
would help us,
In
but-
standard New York State practice, they'll put something on page 38, line D, note 5.
Right.
Where, right, so we just gotta review it
Okay,
carefully.
you will review it, but my
so
understanding,
part of the,
Right.
I think one of the things that works in our favor is we don't entirely prohibit non-residents from accessing the park. We have a fee structure that does allow it.
Right.
So that kind of sets us apart
I guess
from.
the concern is we have a fee structure, but we had to exclude Cherrybrook Park from the list where you had to pay residency.
So
fee.
Cherrybrook Park, that property was bought through the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which is actually a federal program. So that was a different set of
All right,
regulations.
well,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I will double check, but I know in our conversations with the lobbyist, he said that these are called SAM grants, and it's like kind of,
They're SAM grants.
I don't know how to describe it other than it's kind of like they will have a certain amount of money that they can use, so it's coming from each of them. But I will double and triple check, because I know what you're asking. But,
Okay.
okay. The next is appointing liaisons to some of our land use committees, so I don't know if everybody just wants to take a look there and express your objections or forever hold your peace. Oh, what? You want to be there? Mike did it. You're fine? You sure? I don't know, you should be on this. Okay. Everyone checked it out? Tom, you're on some boards, you better
Yep.
check it out there, make sure you're good, because, okay. Then we are going to reappoint some committees, so we have the Blue Hill Golf Course Committee on 11. We have the Office of Emergency Management Committee on 12.
Number 12, I think they're going to ask to, maybe we could put that over until the next one, because there's some issues with, I think some of the firefighters are changing positions, so
Okay, so we're pulling this one?
if we could just pull that one, yeah. I got a text on it
Okay.
from the chief.
13, we have the Environmental Committee, which I've had the pleasure of attending 2 meetings already. 14, we have the Orangetown Parks and Recreation Development Advisory Committee.
Does that committee meet? Sporadically, like once every 6 months, or sporadically once a year? What's that? And you agree with the people that are on here? That they've been to meetings? No, listen, believe me, I know those names have been there forever. It doesn't mean they've been at meetings forever.
What are we talking about?
Okay?
What about ORAC? When was the last meeting for them? We haven't met
Is
in
that
like
on
3,
here?
4 years.
So,
All right, just want, is that even a committee anymore, I guess is the
No.
question.
It's like something in your closet. You don't use it for a few years, throw it out.
I mean, Eric, it could be 4 years since we met on that committee, right?
scratch it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not on here, right?
Okay, good.
All right. Well, then, let me just see something else.
Go to your momentum, go ahead.
Okay.
I
Okay.
want to see if there's any
Senior
other.
advisor.
The Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, and then the Orangetown Project Review Committee, and then the Orangetown Shade Tree Commission, and then the Substance Abuse Committee. No, wait a minute, you're right, that's right, you're right, is that what you're talking about? Is that what?
No, it's okay.
It's different here than it is on the.
It was corrected from the original agenda.
Okay, okay. Okay, then we have the Orangetown Traffic Advisory Board, and then number 20, we're reappointing,
Yeah, the other one has you.
Yeah.
This is-
that's what I'm saying, right?
You can go.
Okay, so we got, let me go back, where is it? Okay. So Allison, on number 18, we just have to change, we have the liaison as Councilman Troy, but I'm in the front, so it's me. Where was it on the front?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, don't worry, we'll figure it out.
So the committee.
Okay, 20, we're reappointing Joseph Brady Amoon to the Board of Assessment Review. 21, we're reappointing Michael Mandel to the Board of Ethics, I think, as the chairman. Thank you, Mike.
Only if he redoes his form,
Otherwise,
he's out.
it's all his millions, it's a lot of work. Okay, 22, is Eamon here? Yeah. Oh, maybe he wants to talk about, on this one? I should've told him.
Who's putting?
This is setting the public hearing date on the pollutant limitations, just if you could just, no? We have an agenda item to set a public hearing on proposed amendment to the town code pollutant limitations.
Yes, that's the mercury limitation that got changed by DEC, so we have to match.
So how do we control mercury? Like, who's putting mercury into the sewer? How do you control it?
There's,
It's weird, right?
yeah, I mean, nobody should be putting mercury
No,
into the sewer. I mean,
it's outlawed.
there is a natural, it's a very small limit. There's a natural amount that's very minute that does exist. And we have to be at that or below it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you had a spike, you'd have to start investigating it, but we have to meet the limit.
Is this going to cost us a lot more money, like the ammonia change?
No,
Then it's okay then.
yes.
That's all I want.
Somebody's good.
But
Okay.
I guess it doesn't even matter because we have no choice.
No, we have to,
Yeah, but the thing is, the DEC, when they did the change in the law for ammonia, that was potentially going to cost us millions of dollars. You know, the DEC from up on Mount Olympus goes, bang, here you go, here's our new rule. And it's a
No
state
funding.
mandate with no money associated with that, and they basically stick it to every town in the entire state. It's wrong.
No, I don't disagree. I'm just saying, they didn't change the law. We just had to back into how we were going to pay for it.
They changed,
They changed it.
they changed the
For
law
ammonia.
on ammonia, made it tighter.
No, I know, but they didn't change the law back because of our complaints. We just
No,
had to figure
they-
out,
They didn't.
we had to build a better mousetrap.
Yeah, and they gave us a little leeway in terms of coming up with a decision. But initially, it was a hard deadline.
I know, but that's just how New York State is.
Yes.
That's
It's
why we
just
have
that-
Eamon here. He can
New
figure it
York
out.
State's just there to help us.
the unfunded mandates.
Stop
are
throwing
always-
your thermometers
always
in
fun.
the sewer.
Okay. Sorry for putting you through that,
No,
but thank
not
you.
at all. Very good.
Okay, 23 is certificate of sewer registrations. 24 is hiring a law firm. This is in connection with the Pfizer tax certiorari
Yep.
proceeding. I don't know if you want anything. We are heading towards trial, I believe.
Right, there's a trial coming up, and what's that?
High hopes that we
Well,
can go to trial.
we have to gear up and get ready for trial, so this firm,
Okay.
decided to hire to be trial counsel, so we're ready to roll for trial when it comes.
Okay, 25 and 26, we have reclassifications of our highway employees to the PO 27. They went to Rockland County. The positions were reclassified. I don't know if you want Jim to say anything about it, or if you're good.
I
good?
spoke
Spoke
to
to
Jim.
Jim.
Okay, everyone's good? Okay, 27 is a resolution to attend a highway conference, the Grassroots Advocacy Day campaign. Sounds like fun. 28 is awarding the bid to Verdi Electric, and that's for maintenance of the control signals. And then 29, I guess we're going to have some discussion about it with Eric. This is, Eric had sent everybody proposed fee schedule. So Eric, if you want to come up. Keeps coming off.
Is there a question, or?
I don't know, yeah, I mean, everyone got, right? Everyone got, did everyone look? They're easy. Everyone looked at the,
Yeah.
Eric's, everyone's good with it?
No, I just, the college rates I know Eric wants to change.
Right.
And
So, several years ago, and I think most everybody here was on the board at the time, the college rates were raised significantly.
yes.
And I think there was a desire to maybe discourage some of the college use of the fields, which was always outside of the local use of the fields, the youth group use of the fields. They came in well before them and were out of the, off the fields before anybody local showed up.
But it also reflected that they don't pay taxes in the town of Orangetown.
Okay, yes.
And at their full profit.
Right. So we also, at least in the case of Dominican and Stack, we use their facilities periodically as bailouts for our day camp during during storms, we've run programs over there. They allow, I think, OMM's Buddy Ball program at Dominican College. They relocated that over to there. So they do contribute to the community as well. So I'm not suggesting that we stop charging them altogether, which is what we primarily do for most of the youth organizations in town. We don't charge anyone, just suggesting that we bring them down to something a little bit more manageable.
I don't have a problem with that, but I also would like a caveat, provided that they're being good neighbors to us. Problem is, we change the rates right now, and then all of a sudden, we're not getting we're not getting use of facilities, the rates are changed.
Then we'll change them next year back.
Yeah, we could always change. I don't think there's any, we could change them within the year.
Yeah,
There's
you don't
no,
have to wait.
Yeah,
no
Tom,
rule that says we can't change our fees whenever
Stop
we
being
like.
nice.
No,
I don't know. I'm
Tom,
just
I
saying.
agree with your point, but the thing is, in the last couple of years, there's been a symbiotic relationship between Stack, particularly with, and Dominican, with the town. Far more cooperation than was previously the case in the past. So I support this.
What do we get from Nyack College?
Nyack, we don't really have a formal relationship with them, but they're another
just
college
asking.
in town.
There's more than 2 colleges in the town.
Nyack's elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're done after this spring, I think is what they told, as far as athletics go, they're relocating, so.
So just Stack and Dominican and any other colleges?
Well, maybe you need an asterisk there. It's for Stack and for Dominican College, based on their contributions to the community.
All right, change the rates, but rates are subject to change on 30 days' notice for the colleges.
But we've always had that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You want that in small print?
Eric and I are the ones.
Certified mail.
It took us, 2 or 3 years to get these rates? I'm just saying,
Well, yes, they came out of the committee that we were just discussing that hasn't met in 4 years, so.
it hasn't met, but that was one of I thought it was the reason what we were charging the colleges more is because it reflected they don't pay taxes. And they're for profit, and, I agree we have a symbiotic relationship now, but we weren't getting that back in the day.
That's true.
So
Okay,
So
I'll go along with it now, but,
all right.
subject to change.
you're just an easygoing guy.
I am, Dennis.
Are you getting along?
Yeah, we have very good relationships, I would say, with Dominican and Stack. Nyack, we've never really reached out and asked for anything. Most of our programs are on this side of town, so we tend not to need anything in Nyack. We've never broached that subject with them. So that's not to say that they wouldn't support us.
And they're
It's
not
just,
gonna
And they're moving out,
Right,
so
they're
my
gone.
point is Eric he has a working relationship with both of them, right? So for the time being,
Well, let's go back through the history, Jerry, just so you know. Back in the day, they were using our baseball fields at an alarming rate, and that's why this came about.
they were being charged the standard use rate, yes.
Yes,
The
and they were
standard-
using-
The
they
adult
were
use,
using
not youth, not what we
The
charge
baseball
youth
fields
organizations.
too much, and they were not paying their fair share. So that's the reason we did that.
And they were also kicking off some of the
Right.
rec
local-
leagues that we
The
had.
local Babe Ruth, so that's,
So that's what
I'm
caused some of
trying
the
to-
grief and aggravation.
it's
Yeah.
great that we have this great relationship, but that's, I just want to make sure that we're all aware that if things return to the way they were, rates will return to where they were.
Okay.
Thank
We're
you.
good with it, thank you.
Okay. Okay, number 30 is accepting a grant from DASNY. This is to purchase 6 new police vehicles. We have 2 lend assistance, one for the Tappan Zee High School 9th Annual Flying Dutchman 5K, and the other one's for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I don't know, I probably could finish it, it's a 5K. 33 is authorizing the supervisor to sign the engagement letter with O'Connor Davies for accounting services. And then we go on to the vouchers. Okay, so we have to go back to the public portion. Okay, so we're gonna, so I'm gonna make a motion to open the meeting.
Motion open, public portion.
Public portion, have a second? Yep, okay. So we have, who, let's see, let me guess. I'm gonna guess Esther's on here. Esther Baitler. I will. Now? I'm just going to, Esther, before you start, we don't usually get dignitaries here, but tonight we have former county exec Scott Vanderhoof, so I just wanted to acknowledge him and thank him for joining us. And now we'll let Esther talk.
evening, Supervisor Kenny and all town board members. My name is Esther Baylor, and I'm a very unique consumer who lives in Spark Hill. Tonight, I would like to suggest that the town board members and myself form a committee on Optimum. Their prices are going through the roof. I'm paying $182, $24 a month, and I don't get a senior discount. They're charging for 2 remote controls, $12 each, and 12 for 2 boxes. This is outrageous what they're doing. And I agree with Paul that you guys need to get on that bandwagon and bring Optimum in here. Get FiOS, get them in here. This is outrageous. Their prices are unreal. And every time I mail them a check with the bill, they come back at me with it. Dennis, you know that. Come on. I really feel that the board should form a committee now because it's getting out of control.
Thank you,
And
Esther.
they came into my apartment, $187 to fix wires. I said, what am I signing for? You didn't do anything. And they said, well, we contract out. That's baloney. I'm tired of it.
Esther,
I
thank you.
get a bill, 2 and 3 bills a month.
Okay.
Paul, do you? I think it's time that the board form a committee now.
Rob?
Don't just sit there and be evasive on it.
Esther,
Esther, after
We'll look
everybody
into it,
speaks, we'll answer.
I mean, it's unreal. I think they would make Paul Valentine the head of the committee, along with all the town board members and
I'm okay.
myself.
Oh, all the town board members. Just Paul Valentine, I'm good with that.
Paul says he'll meet 4 times.
Thank you, Esther.
I just also want to say Five Guys should go where Stop and Shop is in Orangeburg.
You missed them, you should have told them they were here.
Well, Paul, you should tell the board that they want to put one there. Change the local zone on it. But please bring Optimum in.
thank you.
Dennis,
Okay. Thank you, Esther.
without me, it
Mike.
wouldn't be mentioned.
Mike,
Yeah, I got it, thank you.
I don't know what I'm doing with this thing.
Esther.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know how to start over again. Mike Mandel, you're, yeah. Oh, there we go. I did it.
Here's your official copy.
It's like I just hit a, I hit
Good
a bunch
evening,
of buttons.
Supervisor Kenny, members of the Town Board. For the record, Michael Mandel, resident of Pearl River. As we move along, I was going to ask if we had gotten the full environmental impact statement completed from regarding the TOD, or Transit-Oriented Development in Pearl River. I see we put a lot of stuff on site. I was informed by Allison, so I didn't get a chance to look at it all. I don't know if there's if the full impact study is on there. But as we move along towards this, whether it goes ahead or not, I think we should take into account and take a look at some of the other TODs in the area to see are they viable. We have one large one extremely. It makes Park Ridge has now become more like Muncie than Park Ridge was. When you take a look at the 5-story building that's being proposed, they are being built, stores on the first floor, with a parking garage in the middle. So it changes the suburban character of a town, makes it more like Brooklyn, where I moved out of. So I think that should be taken into account. Also, I don't know if it was Sloatsburg. I'm still trying to find out one of the other places where they have completed it. The idea of 1 studio, 1 2-bedroom apartments will not affect the school district. But suffering, okay, but you got to remember, 2-bedroom apartments, and I grew up in a New York City housing project, they only had 2-bedroom apartments, and most apartments had 2 to 3 children. So, and they're not going to come in spaced out amongst all the grades. I think that's something else that's got to be taken into account before we jump with both feet into it. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
And thanks for the appointment again. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak that hasn't had a chance to speak? No, Esther, okay. Okay, we got motion to close. Tom? Dennis, second. All in favor? Aye.
Mike, I'll just address Mike. Mike, I drove by that development in Park Ridge today, and I'm thinking the same thing that you're thinking. This is not what people moved out of the city for. Like, that thing is massive. Like, I just don't get what Park Ridge was thinking when they agreed to do that rezoning down there. Again, if the trains don't come, I don't know how it's viable. And even if the trains do come, I don't know why the residents and the board in Park Ridge agreed to such a massive project which will forever change that municipality.
And I'll address Esther. Esther, when the contracts are up for the both cable television providers, Verizon and Optimum, then we'll form the committee so that we can address the contract. So we're looking into when their 10-year contract, or 12-year contract is up.
Actually, we received contact from Verizon. Theirs is up within 3 years, so the process has to start now. So it is time for a committee to get going.
Right, so it's within 3 years,
And
so we will form a committee.
Cablevision, I believe it is up in 2024, so there's still a little time. But as I mentioned to the supervisor, we can reach out to them and at least start a conversation, not necessarily about the franchise, but just in general, ask them questions, and then when the franchise comes up, it'd be appropriate to bring that up.
Yep, good, thank you.
But just as to remember, we did have a Cablevision committee, and it went the way of the dodo bird. It was extinct because no one wanted to be on the committee.
Because you couldn't do nothing after the contract.
No, I'm just saying, if we're gonna have a committee, I hope that people will volunteer, because we didn't have too many volunteers the last time we had it.
But unless you start it, you're not gonna get anywhere. That's my covenant with you.
I hear you, but I'm just saying, even if you start, it doesn't mean it's gonna get anywhere.
Then Paul agrees on it.
I
Okay.
think we do need a committee, yes.
Okay, so we are going to go to item number 8. Okay, do I have a motion to authorize the Director of Finance to sign the engagement letter? Do I have a second? Got that, Dennis? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, do I have a motion to accept the municipal program grant in the amount of $250,000? Okay, we have first, Dennis? Okay, all in favor? Aye. And Paul, I will double check and triple check that issue, I know that you.
Yep.
Okay, number 10, to appoint, can I have a motion to appoint the liaisons to the land use / committees? Okay, Tom,
Tom moved it.
second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I motion to reappoint the Blue Hill Golf Course Committee for a 1-year term.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Can I do that as the liaison? I guess I can.
I think so, yeah. Tom, did you second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Actually, we can leave in 12. I'm told that we're okay with
12 is back in?
12. If there have to be changes, we can make them after.
Oh, okay, so we're not going to pull that one. Okay, so do I have a motion to reappoint the Orangetown Office of Emergency Management Committee for 1-year term? Was that Jerry, then you? I think it was a come from both ends. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, it's back in.
Appoint the Orangetown Environmental Committee for 1-year term. Do I have a motion?
No one really wants it, then, so. We have to vote.
Well, I'm the liaison, you should be happy to vote on it.
I'll make a motion.
I have a second? Well, anyway, Jerry did it. All in favor? Aye. Be nice, or I'll put you on it next year. Okay, reappoint the Orangetown Parks and Recreation Development Advisory Committee for a 1-year term. Can I have a motion? Jerry, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Paul Mount, all in favor? Aye. Reappoint the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee for a 1-year term. Dennis Troy made a motion. Paul, second, all in favor? Aye. Reappoint the Orangetown Project Review Committee for a one-year term. Can I get a motion? Tom Dimity moved it. Dennis Troy seconded. All in favor? Aye. Reappoint the Orangetown Shade Tree Commission for a one-year term. Jerry moved it. Second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. What the heck? You people don't like trees? Reappoint the Substance Abuse Committee for a one-year term. We got Tom Divany, a second? Now that Dennis seconded.
changed from me.
Now that, yes, it's to me, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Dennis did, right? You seconded. Yes. Reappoint the Orangetown Traffic Advisory Board for a one-year term.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we got Paul Valentine, a second? Dennis Troy, all in favor? Aye. Reappoint Joseph Kenneth Brady Amoon to member of the Board of Assessment Review for a five-year term. Do you have a motion? Paul, second. Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Reappoint Michael Mandel to a chairman of the Board of Ethics for a one-year term. Tom moved, second. Jerry, all in favor? Aye. Okay, set a public hearing date on the proposed amendment to the Town Code, Section 30B3 for pollutant limitations. Can I get a motion? Dennis Troy moved. Have a second?
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. Approval of the 2020 Certificate of Sewer Registrations. Motion? Paul, yeah, I know, Paul. Okay, and Jerry seconded. All in favor? Aye. Retaining the law firm of Barclay Damon LLP in a litigation matter. Have a motion? Dennis Troy made a motion, and a second was Jerry?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reclassify William Lennox, an automotive mechanic. I have trouble saying that. I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I don't know. You moved, Jerry moved, and Paul seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Reclassify Jason Elmendorf, automotive mechanic. Dennis Troy moved, Paul Valentine second, all in favor?
Aye.
Grant permission to the superintendent of highways to attend the Grassroots Advocacy Day campaign in Albany. Do you have a motion? Jerry? Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Award the bid to Verde Electric Maintenance Corporation for the traffic lights and signals. Have a motion? Paul made a motion, second. Jerry Patari, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent of Parks and Rec on the Department 2020 fee schedule. Dennis Troy made a motion. Have a second? Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Accept the $250,000 grant from DASNY for the purchase of 6 police vehicles. Do I have a motion? Jerry made a motion. Paul second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the 2020 Tappan Zee High School 9th Annual Flying Dutchman 5K. Do I have a motion? Jerry made a motion. I have 2 seconds. You can pick one.
Whatever.
Dennis Troy second. All in favor?
Aye.
You both said it at the same time. I don't know if I'm supposed to pick one? Just pick one? Okay. Okay. Approve lend assistance for the 2020 St. Patrick's Day Parade.
I'll make that for the, just, there has to be another resolution somewhere along the line for the showmobile.
This doesn't include it?
That's one second.
Trash barrels, barricades, measure board?
No, there has to be in parks. That's not here.
Okay. Okay, so make a note, we gotta get something for parks, for the showmobile.
You could just make the resolution.
Yeah, right now, just put it in.
Can we?
right-
Can we
Right
just-
now.
Yeah, amended, but
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's on
okay,
next agenda.
okay.
Time
He wants the insurance.
Okay. So Dennis Troy moved it, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Authorize the supervisor to sign an engagement letter from O'Connor Davies Accounting, for accounting services for 2019, 2020. Do I have a motion? Dennis Troy, do I have a second?
Yep.
Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the vouchers.
All right. Thank you. I had it friggin'
The audit for tonight's town board meeting consists of 4 warrants for a total of $983,000. First warrant had 29 vouchers for $155,000. Items of interest, number 1, Lothrop Associates, $105,000 for the Town Hall Architectural Design Project. Second warrant had 28 vouchers for $14,000 and was for utilities. The third warrant had 8 vouchers for $245,000. Items of interest, number 3 and 4, the applied golf contracts. Number 5, Gentili Construction Company, $46,000 for demolition on Chief Bill Harris Way. And the fourth warrant had 148 vouchers for $567,000. Number 6, Chimung Supply, $58,000 for sewer chemicals. Number 7, County of Rockland, $309,000 for the Pearl River Campus Pilot, and that's just a pass-through. And number 10, South Orangetown Central School District, $53,000 for rental of school property, the pool. Any questions on the audit?
No. Anybody have a question?
Nope.
No. Okay, so, do I have a motion? Okay, Dennis Trey made a motion, second?
Yep.
Tom Devine, all in favor? Aye. Okay. So we are going to be entering executive session to discuss proposed sale of real property and personnel matters. We are not coming out, but we're going to adjourn in memory of, we have a couple of adjournments. We have an adjournment of Eileen Cecilia Oliver, who's the mother of town employee Rick Oliver, Valentino Calzetta, the father of town employee Gina Raymond, and Terry O'Keefe, a resident of Pearl River, retired research scientist at the Nathan Klein Institute for Psychiatric Research in Orangeburg, and volunteer with the Orangetown Little League Baseball. Anybody else have any other?
Terry O'Keefe I knew through Pearl River Little League, and I also knew him through CYO basketball, very active in youth athletics. What I didn't know until recently is also a Vietnam veteran. And he was also, I guess I should have known this, the fact that he's a scientist at Nathan